Okay, hello again everybody. It's Thursday, June 18th. This is the second video that I'm shooting related to two hots and a shared neutral. And again, before I do this video, I want to give the full disclaimer. I am not an electrical engineer. I'm not an electrician. I'm strictly a Google electrician, and I'm working on my plans to do my basement finish, and so I'm just trying to get a handle on the circuits that we have. And when I started looking at the circuits, I noticed that I have the situation that I've got two hots and a shared neutral and the one ground. So we're going to take a look at that right now so you see what I'm talking about, and then we're going to see how I'm testing these two circuits to find out whether or not we've got this concerning situation that the current is additive between the two circuits going to the shared neutral, which could then potentially overload the neutral. These are two 15 amp circuits, so the gauges of the wires, they're supposed to only carry 15 amps, and we never want that neutral to be carrying more than 15 amps. So I'll draw, in another video, I'll draw like what are we talking about in terms of just drawing it out on paper and the circuit diagrams, but we're looking at the actual live circuits and cable right now. So I'm going to switch so you can have a look. I was looking at, so the wiring in my basement is this house was built in 1969. I do have aluminum wiring, and the way stuff was wired together was really confusing for me, and I couldn't understand what was going on in this area here. There's this receptacle, which the junction box, which I've removed because there was nothing in there, and it was just creating extra wires inside this junction box and just creating an opportunity to have undesirable wires and sparks that could happen. So I've removed that at this point. So I'm gonna see, if you look in here, this is the cable that's coming from the service panel outside. You can see it runs around, it comes into the junction box. And if you look at the cable, you can see, it's a little dark, but this is the red wire coming out of the cable. This is the black wire coming out of the cable. Now both of these are hots. That's what we were looking at in the previous video, is there was the red, which controls the furnace, and the black, which controls the lights in the basement here. And then here's this one is the neutral. Sorry, I just said that totally. This black is the furnace. This neutral is the furnace. It's black because this is attached to a switch. So this is the red coming out of the supply line. This is the black coming out of the supply line. This red is wired in here. The red goes into the switch. There's a switch here. I'll come underneath. There's the switch that goes to the furnace. So let's get that sorted out again. That here is the supply. Here's the supply that's coming from the service panel. You look in here, and you can see from the supply, this is the red wire. This is the black wire. This is the neutral coming out of the supply. Sorry, let me get the camera. This is the neutral coming out of the supply. This is the neutral that goes back to the service panel. And this is what we want to make sure is not getting overloaded, because the way we've got the circuit set up is this is the neutral that's coming back from the furnace, and this here is the neutral that's coming back from another circuit. Like I said, the wiring is a little weird, so it's actually we've got the black and the black. These two blacks are basically to do the same circuit. This is the black coming out of the supply line. So what I'm going to show you next is taking readings on the amps going through these wires. But the important thing to see here is that we've got the supply line that we looked at in the service panel that's got two hots, a shared neutral, and a shared ground. We've looked at that in this junction box right now. And then next I'm gonna take a multimeter that's gonna read the amperage, the current through the different wires.